fastest teams to practice today. Kyle
Casey
Martin.
Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's
here
all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
Carl Edwards free falling for a couple
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team lineup this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
We're back to fantasy racing this week with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series returning from a much-needed vacation, if you will. It's time to hit the summer stretch of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series schedule. First, we're turning right and left at Sonoma this weekend, Robbie. One of my favorite racetracks to watch a race.
Well, first of all, I miss Rich. And second of all, Sonoma, in recent years, for some reason, Sonoma and Watkins Glen have become two of the best races on the circuit. Beating and banging, all sorts of weird shenanigans going on. And I think a big part of that is the double file restarts. I think when you put the cars double file every restart, you get some weird things that are going to happen. You're going to get some exciting races. You're going to get some passing, some beating and banging. So, yeah, I like Sonoma. I used to not be a road course fan, but over the last 4 or 5 years, my opinion of that's changed dramatically. So I'm looking forward to the weekend as well. I'll tell you that.
There have been many of arguments with my Midwest open-wheel racing fans when I tell them that NASCAR has the best road course racing product, in my opinion, in the world right now. I mean, it's better than F1. It's better than IndyCar. When you watch a NASCAR race on a road course, it's the best racing you get on a road course right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll second that idea. I'm not into Formula One. I'll go ahead and admit that now. I like watching IndyCars, but the Sprint Cup Series, even the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series on road courses, I think the way that things are working out now, I agree. It's some of the best road course racing you'll see anywhere.
Coming up on the show today, road course ringer Glenn Jarrett joins us. He has made one start on a road course, and he finished 11th.
Oh.
So he is a road course racer. We're going to ask him about that, and then he's going to tell us who he likes in fantasy this week at Sonoma. Also, we'll hear from A.J. Allmendinger. That's a real road course ringer. Well, not a ringer. He's in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series full-time, but he is a very good road course racer. So we'll hear from him. And then, of course, our teams and our winners don't go anywhere. You're watching the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
We'll be right back in just a moment to talk more fantasy racing with Tyler and Robbie here on the Inside Line.
O'Reilly. Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get one free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Victory Junction was young race driver Adam Petty's dream. He worked toward building a camp where children with serious medical conditions could concentrate on fun and not their illness or disease. When he died tragically, his family and friends around NASCAR made sure that dream came true. Today, Victory Junction is a camp that provides fun, life-changing experiences to children dealing with illnesses and disabilities, all at no cost to the camper. Help us serve more children by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcast elevates your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap in the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
We now return to the Inside Line with Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
We're up to 1,071 players in our NASCAR Fantasy Live League, and the team name Main Star is pulling away just a bit with 4,059 points. See, way ahead of Robbie.
I was led to believe that Rich was pulling away from everybody.
Well, he's 8th currently, respectfully, if you will. That's Richard Calder.
And Rango's back this week, too, I see.
Richard Colbreth is currently 8th, but he's 400 points behind the leader. So that's a little tough. Invite your friends to come play in our NASCAR Fantasy Live League. We challenge each other every week. It's just not the point standings throughout the year, even though Rich likes it to be because he wants to talk crap about how much ahead of us he is. But last week, our program director, Ryan Horn, won at Michigan at his home track, taking the checkered flag and fantasy points. He's not high in the standings, but of course he did pretty well, finishing number 1, numero uno, out of 1,000 people. Anyways, let's talk Sonoma. I count 12 turns at the road course at Sonoma. Slower speeds, technical course. In my opinion, it seems that drivers who are good at Watkins Glen are good at Sonoma. Is that correct? I mean, you look at A.J. Allmendinger, though he struggles as far as finishes at Sonoma because he gets unlucky.
Right.
He's still up front, most of the race the last 2 years. Tony Stewart is very good at Watkins Glen. He's also very good at Sonoma. Clint Boyer is a great road course racer as well. Those guys both have great numbers at both racetracks. Is that how you assess the two road courses? If you're good at one, you potentially could be good at another?
Well, you would say the same thing about restrictor plates. If you were good at Daytona, you would be good at Talladega. But unfortunately, it's not always the case. There are guys that have won at Watkins Glen and have had success there that have struggled historically at Sonoma. And one of those guys is at the top of my list this week is Kevin Harvick. Sonoma, 15 starts. He's never won here. He only has 6 top 10 finishes. He's won at Watkins Glen before, almost won last year before it ran out of gas coming to the checkered flag. I'm going to tell you, I'm not wild about the Kevin Harvick pick based on his Sonoma numbers alone, but I like the fact that they are consistent throughout the course of the year. He has 3 straight top 10s coming into Sonoma this weekend, and I've gotten a lot of passing points from Kevin Harvick when I've had him on my team. Michigan is a good example. Struggled in qualifying, didn't make the second round of qualifying, comes back for a top 5 finish. So those were massive passing points that I got from Kevin Harvick. His average start in 2016 is 12.5. His average finish, though, is 7.1.
And one thing you're not going to do here, and one thing that Kevin Harvick does is lead a lot of laps. Laps aren't going to matter this week. I mean, you're not. How many laps are in this race?
It's 110 laps.
So that's potentially all the laps you can get if someone's going to lead the entire race. Now, I highly doubt that someone's going to lead the entire race at a road course, just because there's people moving each other all over the track into turns and stuff like that. Especially that last turn, which is pretty hairy dive bombs.
That's why they call it the hairpin.
Yeah. So, but I don't think if you do, you're going to get 110 points, which is not a whole lot in fantasy. So laps led aren't going to be a huge factor. A.J. Allmendinger, like I just mentioned, he's on my team. He's a guy that could probably lead some laps. I mean, 2 years ago he led 35 laps. I will say this. Allmendinger is kind of unlucky, and we're going to hear from him a little bit later on that unluckiness at Sonoma. But just like at Phoenix with Kevin Harvick and Dover at Jimmy Johnson, if we don't start the best road course racer in the garage at a road course, this show has no credibility, in my opinion. I mean, on either one of our teams. I mean, I know you're not going to start him this week because you have Kevin Harvick staying on your team, and I respect that. But A.J. Allmendinger has to be on one of our teams because if he goes out there and just dominates the race, we are going to look like fools.
Well, if he goes out there and qualifies well but finishes 40th because of a mechanical problem, you're just going to look funny.
You're right.
You're funny yourself. As far as road course ringers, as far as road course ringers goes, you wouldn't say Jimmy Johnson's one, but he's got a pretty good record at Sonoma. 14 starts, 1 win, 9 top 10 finishes. His average finish is 12.4. He has the highest 10-race average finish at an 8.1 with 7 straight top 10 finishes coming into at Sonoma in the last 7 races. He's been in the top 10 every week. 3 top 5s in that stretch, too. So I like Jimmy Johnson, and we talked about it last week. They have struggled this year. I think it's time for Jimmy Johnson to get back on track.
Yes, Jimmy Johnson is a good pick, in my opinion. Joey Logano is also a good pick. Quietly starting to pick up some steam on the road courses. He is great at Watkins Glen. Of course, he won there last year. He swept both races in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series at Watkins Glen. And then he finished 5th at Sonoma. Joey Logano, definitely a must-start at Watkins Glen, in my opinion, but I think he's teetering towards must-start at Sonoma, turning into a very good road course racer.
I disagree with that pick.
Do you?
I do.
Why?
I just, for some reason, I don't like Joey when we go to Sonoma. I just feel like the fifth place last year, but other than that, I mean, he's kind of struggled there throughout the course of his career.
Well, like I said, he's picking up steam lately of road course racing. I mean, he hasn't been outstanding at road courses, but lately he has been good at road course races.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a road course ringer, though.
All right, well, when he finishes in the top 5, we can come back and we can talk about this next week.
All right.
Wow.
Chase Elliott is on my team again this week, making his first Sprint Cup Series road course start this weekend. I want to go back to last week for a second.
All right, let's do it.
You said something. And we've got the tape, so let's roll the tape right now.
He does struggle on road courses. I mean, he was never that good at road courses in the Xfinity Series, so this is going to be a pretty big test.
But he did win on a road course in the Truck Series.
So you said last week that he was never good in the Xfinity Series on road courses, but I've got numbers to prove that wrong.
All right.
At Watkins Glen, 2 starts in the Xfinity Series, 2 top 10s. At Mid-Ohio, 2 starts, 2 top 5s. At Road America, 2 starts, 2 top 5s. In the Truck Series, 1 road course start at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and 1 win.
Again, he moved someone to win that race.
But you said he was never good in the Xfinity Series.
In the Xfinity Series, he should have had a win. He had one of the best cars in the garage.
My point is 7 starts on road courses in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, and he has 7 top 10s. Boom, you've been roasted. Whatever. #expert.
Chase Elliott's on his team. Who else do you have on your team?
I've got Clint Boyer, 10 Sonoma starts, 8 top 10 finishes, and I'll round things out with Michael Annett at $5 because I needed a 5th driver in my lineup.
Kurt Busch is a guy that probably is a must start at Watkins Glen, and I don't know why he's not on your team.
Well, we're going to Sonoma.
Sonoma. Either one, Watkins Glen or Sonoma. Okay. I'm getting the road courses mixed up.
You're only
but he is very good at Sonoma. A win in 2011, 2nd place to his brother Kyle last year. His last 5 races, 4 top 5s, 3 podium finishes, and a win. Kurt will be someone to watch out for, potentially a guy who can add a 2nd sticker to his window on Sunday, and that's a little teaser for Robbie's pick later on. In my opinion, this is one of Tony Stewart's best racetracks. He's adding on my team this week. This is, 1 or 2 of Tony's last chances, in my opinion, to make the chase. He has to win. I mean, he's going to be there in points. He's going to be top 30 in points, but he has to win a race. Watkins Glen, Sonoma this week, 2 great racetracks that he probably has to capitalize on to get into the chase.
I'll throw in Daytona next week, too.
And Daytona, right. But those are some of the tracks that he has to win at to get in, and I think Sonoma could be a chance that he does. I don't think he wins, but I think he runs in the top 10, maybe the top 15 most of the day, so Tony Stewart is on my team. Also, a guy we haven't talked about yet, Clint Boyer, is outstanding at Sonoma Raceway. He has 10 starts, 80% of them he's in the top 10. That's 8 if you know how to do math, Robbie. And 6 of those, which is 60%, he is in the top 5. He has a win at Sonoma. Clint Boyer, though, I'm not gonna lie to you, would not start him at any other racetrack besides maybe a Bristol or a restrictor plate track. They struggle on the 1.5 mile racetracks. They struggle with speed. I don't think they're going to need a whole lot of speed this week. I think they have one of the best road course racers in the garage in their car. So Clint Boyer is on my team. Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano. That's my team.
And mine is Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, Clint Boyer, and Michael Annett.
I think Kyle Larson will be good as well. We'll ask Glenn Jarrett about that next. You're watching the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
The Inside Line will return in just a moment.
O'Reilly.
Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get 1 free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation, a family getaway, or the perfect romantic retreat, but just can't find the time? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. You will discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service at this sparkling Daytona Beach Hotel, located directly on the beach. A Plaza Resort and Spa weekend escape is the ultimate in relaxation. with world-class massages, facials, body wraps, and more at the Plaza's very own Ocean Waters Spa. She'll love you for giving her such a fantastic weekend getaway. The Plaza Resort and Spa, located at 600 North Atlantic Avenue in Daytona Beach, one of the area's premier hotels and the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
Now it's back to Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett on the Inside Line.
You can tweet us using @MRN Fantasy. That's our Twitter handle. You can also use the hashtag AskMRN if you want to ask Robbie any ridiculous questions. You can find Robbie Mays on Twitter @Robbie Mays, or you can make fun of him for starting Chase Elliott this week too if you want, because he's a road course ace.
So on the phone,
you can find me at _Tyler Burnett, and then the man joining us now you usually can find at a golf course, and I think he's near one right now. He said he's about to tee off, or a racetrack. His Twitter handle is Glenn with 2 N's and then another N, and then his last name Jarrett, the former Sprint Cup and Xfinity driver, now MRN pit reporter Glenn Jarrett has joined us. The road course ringer. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How you doing today?
Great. If I did my research correctly, you have one road course start, and you finished 11th. Does that make you a road course ringer?
Well, probably more than you or Robbie.
Yeah, that's right. We couldn't fit in a race car.
That's fair.
Well,
Wow.
back in my day, you could.
Tell us about that day at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, we had a pretty good run going actually, and because nobody back then had road course cars, but we were all over the place. But on the last, a big thunderstorm came right at the end of the race. My brother was fighting for the lead, and he wrecked way up on the far end of the racetrack. So caution was out. We came down the hill under the caution, and I'm just riding along about 35 miles an hour, and went down into turn, and my car didn't turn. It got on the water and hydroplaned, and went up across the tire barrier and hung up there. I couldn't even get out because the car was like sticking straight up in the air, stuck on the tire.
Wow. Morgan Shepherd ended up winning that race. That was your only road course start. Back in your day, the road course ringer was probably a high commodity, I would assume. You know, the guy who comes in and drives for somebody, and then, of course, the Southern stock car drivers, they have to try to keep up with him. Well, is the art of road course ringing gone, Glenn?
Well, I think for the most part of what we saw 4, 5, 6, 8 years ago, yes, it is, because most of the guys now, most of the other regular guys have skills enough to do that. And I think one of the reasons for it is all the young guys that are in the sport now. They they grew up running dirt and letting the back end hang out and driving the thing sideways, which is what you have to do on a road course now. And so I don't think that I honestly don't think you'll ever see just a pure ringer come in and win a road course race like we used to see. You know, oddly enough, back in my day, in fact, in that race at Road Atlanta, the road course ringer was a female, Patty Moise.
Wow.
Who's married to Elton Sawyer. He's the head of the truck series.
Yeah.
And Patty was an accomplished road racer. In fact, she may have sat on the pole that day.
You might be
I
right.
think she did. So it was it was different back then, but still there were some ringers that came along with it. I just don't think we're going to see the ringers like we used to. They'll come in and race and they'll have good solid runs, but it's harder and harder for them to even crack the top 15 now. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Glenn, Sonoma is a very unique road course. It's very technical, very mechanical. It's very slow. Talk about Sonoma. You know, we see some drivers run well there, and we see some drivers struggle there throughout the course of their career. What makes Sonoma different and so difficult to get a hold of sometimes?
Well, the turns are sharper, and the track overall, the track is much narrower. There are very, very few places to pass. If you're going to pass somebody and you're not in one of the 2 or 3 places that you can get a run on them, you basically just got to knock them out of the way. You got to kind of root them out of the groove a little bit, and we'll see some of that. Tempers get short and you get a little impatient, particularly as the race wears on. But it doesn't take away from the competition. It's still, it's still exciting, and road racing is some of the most exciting races that we have today. But unlike Watkins Glen, there's just not as much room to try to pass somebody. So you got to get a little bit more physical with them. And also, I think it's a track where true road racing skills pay off more than like at Watkins Glen or maybe some of the other tracks that the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series visits later on this summer. So it's just one of those places where you got to be careful each and every lap. It's really, really easy to make a mistake there. And if you make a mistake there, you're going to go to the back of the pack.
So you say road course skills pay off. A.J. Allmendinger is a guy you think about this week then on your fantasy team?
I think A.J. is going to have a good run. He for whatever reason, he never has had that greatest success at Sonoma. There's some guys that I was listening to you, Robbie, talk a while ago, some of the guys that have had good success there. Kurt Busch being one of them, obviously Jimmy Johnson, and Clint Boyer. I think Clint Boyer is a great pick this week. But I tell you who I think is an off-the-wall pick, and that's just based on his performance last year in the Xfinity Series at Road America, and that's Chase Elliott. I think Chase is going to have a good race there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so too. Tyler doesn't think so, but I do.
Wow.
What does Tyler know?
Nothing.
Well, how many starts has he made at Sonoma, Chase Elliott?
None. Yeah, exactly.
So that's a course he's never seen before.
Well, how many starts did he made at places like Talladega or Martinsville or?
Well, he at least run there in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah. Okay. Darlington is the toughest racetrack that we go to on the circuit. How many starts did he make there before?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
He's won twice
0.
there, hasn't he?
Yeah. No, he's won there once, but his first start he won there.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You're right.
Well, Glenn, let's talk about a guy who won at Sonoma last year. Kyle Busch comes into the weekend, hasn't had a top 5 finish since he won at Kansas on Mother's Day, and we're almost to July now. What's up with this team right now? Is it just bad luck, or are they putting themselves in position for misfortune? What's going on with the 18 right now?
I think it's a little bit of both. And you got to remember, guys, they're qualified for the Chasers, so who knows that they're not trying some different stuff setup-wise to see if it'll work. Maybe looking for that edge, because we know all the Gibbs cars are good. There's no question about that. They're very, very good. And so maybe Kyle and Adam are looking for some different things, throwing some different things against the wall to see if it'll stick during this period here when, they've already made the chase. And they're kind of like running test sessions right now. Who knows that that's not going on? And they have had some bad luck. There's no question about that. So I don't think it's any cause for alarm. And I honestly, when I was looking at the list of guys last night, I think Kyle and Kurt, I think both the Busch guys will be in the top 5 this week.
Yeah, definitely. What about Tony Stewart, a guy who needs a win most likely because he'll be in top 30 in points, but he's not going to be high enough in points to get into the chase. Could he win this weekend at Sonoma or another road course down the road like Watkins Glen?
He could, just simply because of his driving ability and the past history that he has had on road courses. Nothing would please me better. And last couple of weeks, Tony's been pretty good. They were pretty good at Pocono. They were pretty doggone good at Michigan. For whatever reason, they haven't been able to close the deal. They run good through about 3/4 of the race, and then for some reason they seem to fall back at the end. But you don't visit pit road very often at Sonoma, and I think that's one of the things that plays in Tony's favor. Work the clock backwards like we always do on road courses, heck, like we do most places we go now. And make that pit stop as soon as you can, and then stay out on the racetrack. And I think that this is probably, I agree with you guys, this is probably one of the 2 best chances Tony has to win, or 3, two best here in Daytona.
Right. Tony finished 7th at Michigan, so not a bad finish last week. Before we let you go, Glenn, who's your winner this week at Sonoma?
The winner at Sonoma this week will be Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch. All right. Yep. That was Rich's pick last week, and I think that was Robbie's pick last week, and that's probably going to stay the same, I would assume, in the next break. Glenn, have a good time on the golf course today. Hit them well, all right?
All right, thanks, guys. I'll try, but I ain't promising nothing.
Glenn Jarrett, the road course ringer. 1 start at a road course, finished 11th.
And could have been better than that.
Because he ended up in the tire barriers. Wow. We love his insight. We'll be back after this short break, and we'll have our winners here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show.
Got a question or opinion about your fantasy lineup? Give us a call at 8444-ASK-MRN, and it may get used on next week's show. The Inside Line will return in a moment.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
O'Reilly. Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get 1 free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Race fans, you know there's nothing like the power, excitement, and sounds of NASCAR. Ever wonder what it would be like to strap yourself in the seat of an authentic NASCAR race car? You can do it at the Richard Petty Driving Experience. Ride along or drive yourself at one of 15 tracks nationwide. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit online at drivepetty.com. Richard Petty Driving Experience. It's authentic NASCAR entertainment. Call 1-800-237-3889 or visit drivepetty.com to reserve your experience.
Welcome back to the Inside Line. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. We talked a lot about A.J. Allmendinger today. Well, he thinks he has a great chance to win this weekend at his home track of the Sonoma Raceway.
You try to go out there, and I try to have the mindset, it's just another weekend, but we know it's not. It's there's a lot of great things. It's my home race. It's a race that I grew up going to. I always enjoy. I think it's one of the best racetracks that we have in the U.S. when it comes to road course racing. It'd be special because it gets you into the chase, and you go out there, and it makes the rest of the season just a little bit easier to prepare for the chase. Everybody's got that home race that stands out. We know the biggest races in our sport, the Daytona 500, Brickyard, Darlington, but for me, Sonoma's is on top of the list because that's a race that I've loved. I have family and friends, and it would be a special moment to go out there and be able to share that and spend that in victory lane. But you can't get ahead of yourself. I mean, it's such a tough and difficult race. Although we've been fast there, if you look at my stats, they're not very good just because there's a lot of bad luck. There's a lot of ups and downs during the race, whether it comes with cautions, the way the tires are used there, the strategy. So it's a long ways to get there, but I know when we show up, we're going to have a good car and we're going to have a good shot to win it.
They are, and I would assume that a Daytona 500 they would be okay with as well, winning that.
I think he'd be okay winning any race.
Yeah.
I know I would.
We saw the party that happened when he won at Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
AJ would be a good pick, in my opinion, to win this race this weekend. He mentioned the unluckiness, and Glenn Jarrett talked about that a little bit as well. They're fast at Sonoma. There's no question about that. They're going to be fast. In practice, they're going to have good times. It's just going to be, if the luck goes their way and at that road course. And he can pass people. He can run around the track. We'll see what A.J. Allmendinger can do. But he's going to have to get over the luck, I guess. Your winner this weekend, Robbie Mays.
My winner this weekend, and I don't want to be accused of stealing this from anybody, but my winner this weekend is going to be Kurt Busch.
So you stole it from Glenn Jarrett. You stole it from Rich. And now we have 3 Kurt Busch picks over the last 2 weeks.
Anyway, Kurt Busch, 15 starts at Sonoma, won here in 2011, 197 laps led, which I believe is the most among active Sprint Cup Series drivers. He has the highest driver rating at 109.3. I like Kurt Busch on Sunday.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with it. I think Kyle Larson will be good, and I'm kind of sad he's not on my team or your team because
he was on my team for a little while this week.
I know.
Yeah.
And then you added Boyer, but I think Larson will be good. My winner is Joey Logano. I said it last week. Quietly starting to pick up some steam at road courses. Won at Watkins Glen, both the Xfinity and the Cup Series. So Joey Logano, top 5 last year at Sonoma. He's my pick to win. Thanks to our producer, Daryl Smith, Rich Culbreth joining us on the show last week. I don't even know why I thanked him today. But Robbie Mays, I'm Tyler Burnett. Performance Racing Network has the call at Sonoma this weekend. We will be at Gateway with the Truck Series, so hopefully you tune in. Until next time, next week, we'll talk to you then here on the Inside Line.
You've been listening to The Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MotorRacingNetwork.com or on the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand at the MRN.com Media Center, or download it through iTunes or Stitcher. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.